Krista. Yeah, I think he swallowed it. Yeah, well, he thinks it's another Dolly style, doesn't he? He's going to stick another £100 on. 50 each, yeah? Yeah, good man. Oh, sorry. Hello, and welcome to another ESC Fan TV. I am your host for this evening. Welcome as we take our route through the German national final that was broadcast tonight. Now, don't forget, you can watch us on Catch Up on YouTube. Don't forget, you can also listen to us on the way to work on Stitcher. That's Stitcher, not Snitcher. You've also got iTunes. You've also got TuneIn as well. But let's crack on with today's show. We've got a panel of esteemed guests there ready to look and review the 7 fantastic songs presented to us this evening. And I'm going to start off by saying Willkommen and Guten Abend to Martin.
Hello, Tom. All right.
I am. Now, Martin, you are our person to go to for opening songs. And Gregor Hagel opened up tonight's show with Let Me Go. Was this a song that you found difficult to let go?
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one to really start with. It seemed as though it's going to be a really nice ballad because the studio version sounded pretty good. And I thought this was going to be one of the favourites. But then I found that the song was probably pitched right at the top of his range. And he seemed to not be there quite vocally through most of it. And that's probably why he was near the bottom of the table at the end. So, you know, it's a shame because I think he was probably one of the contenders before we started.
It was a shame, wasn't it? Mitchell, just coming across to you. Guten Abend, by the way. Gregor's song, would you say it was off-key? Do you think that affected his chances at all this evening?
Possibly. I actually think this is a really tough competition, the German one. And I think this one just kind of fell away from the really powerful songs that there was. I found it was a really sweet song, but forgettable for me in a powerhouse lineup. So it's kind of unfortunate that that was first. And I think maybe people just completely forgot about it by the time everyone was like, wow, what a great competition.
And I think that's one of the things, isn't it? There is that potential. And I think we've already seen it with some of the national finals that have already happened, that there are some songs there that are on early that are just getting lost in the crowd, aren't they?
Yeah. I
think particularly as well. I mean, take tonight, for example, the show lasted for nearly 2.5 hours. By that time, it was going to be a tough ask. Just going to say Guten Abend to my co-host, Stuart.
Guten Abend, Tom.
Do you think the running time actually affected Gregor's chances this evening?
Don't know about Gregor. It affected me. I was asleep through most of it. It was an interesting show, Tom. Quite honestly, I needed lots of German beer to sustain momentum and interest, shall we say. Gregor's song, poor guy couldn't sing it. It's too big for him.
Swallowed up by the stage.
It was swallowed up by something. I mean, the door behind him was left ajar. I think it was waiting for him to exit, Tom.
Oh, do you know what? And that is a type of joke that I would almost expect the lovely Michelle to come up with. Guten Abend, Michelle.
Hiya.
Can we have your one-word review of Gregor before we move on?
Oh, rubbish.
Well, at least you delivered it in subtle tones. I have to say, this is a song that didn't really do it for me. And I think, totally agreeing with what the panel said, this is a song that has been swallowed up, essentially by running time, by the singer. It was too big for the singer to actually sing as well. It was probably pitched in the wrong key. But that's a shame. And hopefully, though, we'll see him back for another punt at this for next year, wherever Eurovision may be. Now, song number 2, I think it's fair to say, was one of the favourites in tonight's contest. It was Ali Ryan, and that was the song Where Your Love. Now, this very bright, very disco feel, was it, Andy? Guten Abend, by the way.
Guten Abend.
Hashtag banger.
Hashtag?
Banger.
Banger. Nein. Ja, es war ganz gut. Es war mein Favorit heute Abend. Ich hatte es als es könnte dritten oder vierten im Eurovision kommen? Was denkst du? Nein?
Sprechen Sie English?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I thought this was the second best song of the night, and it could potentially have been a Eurovision winner. Obviously not, because it didn't win tonight. But I thought it was a really good song. It reminded me a little bit of the Burger song from Norway a few years ago.
And of course, Margaret Berger was one of the jurors as well this evening, wasn't she?
And the jurors chose it as their favourite song.
Yeah. So
the public hated it, so that was that.
It did kind of kill off her chances somewhat.
Yeah. But as usual, I was right and they were wrong.
Well, we'll have to disagree on that one, because my favourite song comes later on.
It's my second favourite.
Second favourite. Oh yes, true, very true.
No. You're sicher then?
I still have no idea what you're saying, but I am going to say Guten Abend to Nicholas.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend. Now, we had the professional jury come on the stage and deliver their 12 points. Do you think this is where Ali Ryan's chances effectively got killed off this evening?
Yeah, I do think to some extent that's what happened. I think with this song, because it wasn't necessarily one of my favorite songs in terms of the music quality, I do, however, think that the staging and everything, I felt like I was watching something from Melody Festival. It really felt like it could fit in there very well. I think they put a lot of focus on the staging here. Maybe because it was so early on the show, it didn't really click with anyone. It certainly clicked with the Eurovision fans, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. But I felt like the combination of the juries maybe seeing this as a bit too much modern and boring, and the televote not really getting behind it because it was possibly too early on the show, that's what killed it, unfortunately. But I really did like the staging.
I'm going to say, was this one of your favourite songs of the night? It was Andy's second favourite. Was it higher for you?
No, I think this was maybe like my third favorite, I think, because it definitely it was cool. It was definitely cool, but I think it was missing that thing. Maybe it was the lyrics, I don't know, but it was missing a little bit for me.
So it was missing the X factor, as they say.
Maybe.
Now, Ness, Guten Abend. Was this a song that did it for you?
Guten Abend, Tom. It absolutely was not. It made me feel my age. I have to say, shamefully, I did miss the last few minutes putting some washing in my washing machine. So, no, for me, it didn't captivate me, didn't hold me. I did think, the staging was excellent in the first couple of minutes. But it was a song I think that I'd need to listen to many, many times before committing sort of to it in Eurovision. So I'm quite glad it didn't win.
How's the washing?
It's very good, thank you.
It's the important things in life. Now, don't forget, as always, getting the opinions of the panel is great, but we also want your opinions as well. Don't forget, we've got Stuart monitoring the chat room this evening. If you've got any questions for the panel, don't forget, just ping them in the chat room and Stuart will be posing them to the panel as we go along. Also, whilst you're there, you might as well click the like and subscribe buttons. #JustSaying. Stuart, has the chat room been active so far this evening?
Oh, it's a hive of activity, Tom. I'd just like to say hi to Mel. Mel, hi, joining us this evening for the first time. David Ray's in the chat room. He says staging was very good. Was good. The running order killed her chances. Referring to Ali Ryan, of course. When I was watching the running order, it felt forgettable. Hi to Orion as well. Always joining us. Keep those questions and comments coming. We appreciate them. Back to you, Tom.
Fantastic. Now, the third act this evening. Now, for me, this was the surprise package of the evening. Makeda Purple, The Day I Loved You Most. I say surprised because I may not have thought it was going to do as well as it did. And I'm going to go across to Michelle straight away with this one. Makeda Purple, was this the surprise package of the night for you?
Yes, I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the voice, I loved the dress, I loved the staging of it. I thought this should have won. It was a far superior song. I just think that maybe the running order didn't do it justice. If it had been later on, she'd have, but I think she was done over.
Do you think this was the case then, Stuart? Was Makeda actually done over in terms of positioning and everything? Should she be that person taking the song to Israel?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall her song was the best of the night. She's got an incredible voice. She's musically spectacular, beautiful vocal, stunning song, great performance on stage. And it's a real shame that Germany have not picked this song. But what we must remember is that Germany will pick the song that they want to send. And Sisters won the televote. That's the song the German people want to send to Israel. And we must respect that in the same way that we, the UK, chose to send our song. And tomorrow night, Denmark, Nicholas's nation, will choose to send their song. It's a case of taste. And in this case, the German people chose Sisters over Makeda. Personally, I would have gone for Makeda, but it's not my choice to make.
And would you have gone for Makeda, Martin?
Yeah, she was my favourite on the night. The only thing I felt that was not the one thing that was missing out that whole entry was the song itself. I think it was not a good enough song for her voice. Because I think in the postcard she's sort of musical theatre background, and the way she delivered it was really great, sort of musical, like almost talking bits and delivering it really well, sung it perfectly. But I felt the song itself was slightly the weakest bit of the whole thing. But I would have still said to myself, but yeah, as we were saying, she came second with the ESC fans and with the professional jury. It was just the televote let her down. She was sort of, what were they, fourth with the televote, fifth?
I think she was fifth with the televote,
Yeah.
6 points on the televote.
So yeah, and I mean, obviously, I don't think that side of things. I think it was a very close contest in the end. She just missed out, for whatever reason. The last act we'll look at was the most popular.
And to be fair, I mean, for me, would I have sent Makeda? Would I have sent Sisters? Sisters, in my mind, had the better performance. If it was a choice between those two, I probably would have gone for Sisters, because I thought Makeda's performance, whilst not, being quite good, the song, as you've said, was actually quite forgettable. And I think that may have been one of the reasons that impacted her actual positioning.
I think that's part of the problem, Tom, actually. The song itself, whilst beautiful, is forgettable. And I'm sitting here now. Can I remember the song? Could I sing it back to you? Not that you'd want me to, but can I sing it back to you? No. But I remember her. And is that enough for her to be successful at Eurovision? Is she going to have a successful career? Absolutely. She's part of a band. She's also a solo singer, as we know.
Oh, yeah.
But is this song good enough to win the Eurovision for Germany? Probably not. And by definition, the Germans have made the right call on that respect.
Exactly. Now, going basically from
What
the
do you
heroes.
mean exactly?
Exactly. I'm a teacher.
He's
I come
agreeing
out
with
these
me,
things.
Andy.
Agreement.
He's a man with taste.
Well,
Now-
that would assume that the song they chose in the end was a much better song, which it isn't.
Well, we will get the
It's your
chance
opinion.
to discuss that in
Well, get
a
on with
little
it.
while. But I am going from heroes to zeros, and I am going straight to song number 4. And that was BB Thomaz. That was Demons. A very cheesy song. So as you can imagine, this was right at the top of my list this evening. I had it, up there, second or third place. Loved it. Fantastic. Looked at the scoreboard. Never mind. Better luck next year. Maybe. But was this an angel or a demon for you, Ness?
I liked it. I don't know why I liked it. There were some bits of it actually I didn't really like, But overall, I did like the song. I thought those blokes that kept popping up, were they CGI'd? You know, when she was on the steps.
Oh, they were very clever.
Because they were
Something.
incredibly clever. They were so quick. Yeah,
That was like your washing machine on spin, wasn't it?
It was. I did like the song. I just thought some of the lyrics were, as you said, Tom, a bit cheesy, and kind of over-laboured the point about, you know, what she was trying to get across in the sentiment of the song. Otherwise, yeah, I would have had it up there, second or third. But it was very clear, even before the televote, that it was, going to dive bomb. And I actually felt for her because she looked really upset and like she wanted to go to the bar immediately before the televote even got announced.
Do you know what? And I do think she did. I think it was one of those situations where she would have quite happily just, you know, make mine a double 3 times over. You know, it was always going to happen. Nicholas, do you think this deserved last place?
Kind of. So, like, do I remember any of the song? No, because the staging was so distracting that you didn't even hear the song. At least I didn't. I mean, the staging was kind of cool, kind of weird, but kind of cool. But it's all I remember from it. So I understand why this didn't really click, because it seemed like she had a lot of fun on stage at least, but it didn't really click with anyone. So I understand why it came last.
And Andy, did this kind of bring out your demonic side?
Of all the songs, it was my guilty pleasure. It was shite, but I quite enjoyed it. I like the stairs.
Yeah. Everyone has to have a guilty pleasure.
The staging tonight was fantastic. For each song, it's very, very good. But they shouldn't have a green room.
Mitchell, was this a guilty pleasure for you?
Yeah, I really liked this, actually. I was listening to the audio of all the songs and I was like, this might be my favorite. And then when I saw the performance, I get her vocals were a little shakier. Seeing it all and the music together, I was like, okay, this is more like a pantomime than like a proper explosive song. I'm getting it. But I still like Ness said, with the dancers going up and down. I was like, what? I really liked it. And actually, my brother from America's here. When we were watching it, and they said they can go themselves. He's like, she said what? She said to what? So yeah, but no, I liked it. When I looked at the results and I saw it as 7th, I had to laugh because clearly, yeah, I wasn't. The Germans weren't feeling it like I was. But no, I liked it all. But yeah.
No, do you know what? I'm with you all the way. I love the glitz. I love the glamour. I love the cheese as well. Now, does the chat room agree, Stuart? That is the question.
This was my worst song of the night by quite some distance, but I will leave that one there. What does the chat room say? Mel's asked, does anyone think she looked bored performing it? Anyone care to respond to that? She's got a great voice, though. I mean, phenomenal voice. And some of the songs she was singing in her VT were on point. And it kind of got to the song. Look, you guys love it. I wasn't loving it. I wasn't loving it at all. And I found it really, really sort of meh. And
did you put your washing on?
No, but
I was 2 loads done in the later time.
Did you?
Yeah.
That must have been the short. Oh, you cheap cow!
It's a fast wash, surely.
Must have been. You know, the funny thing is, you know what? Sometimes when you listen to a song, and I deliberately chose not to listen to any of these songs prior to tonight, so I'm listening to them completely fresh. And there were some songs tonight, whilst the singers are really good quality singers, and Germany should be very proud with their national finals 2 years running. But there are some songs there which just didn't hold my attention. And I think for a Eurovision fan, or for someone that's not a Eurovision fan, even listening to these songs for a first time, which is what most people will do at Eurovision, that's really important. Yeah, we listen to songs time and time and time again, and we form different opinions. Eurovision viewers will watch these once, and tonight I was a proper Eurovision viewer. Not a
So
fan.
was I, Stuart, but I was working
Yeah.
all day, so I didn't deliberately avoid listening to them.
Oh, I did. I deliberately avoided listening to them first time, and
They only
yeah,
came out yesterday, didn't they?
yeah,
I
but
know,
I chose
midnight.
not to. Yeah, but you know us fans, we would have had them listening all night long, wouldn't we? Let's be
True.
honest.
Hmm.
Or in the car on the way to work. This was one song that didn't really do it for me, but she did. I thought she was excellent.
Oh,
Good luck to her.
Stuart and Tom, can I just say, just on the postcard length, it was excessive. Each of the biographies, whatever, on the singers was ridiculously long. I didn't need to know that much about them, even though I couldn't really translate all the German. So can we just say, as advice to Germany for next year, cutting half an hour off the show so that we can actually eat our dinner, to just shorten the postcards? Is that all right?
I'm
I'll
sure they'll
try
do,
that.
they'll do
Andy.
that just for you, Ness.
Although I'll be
Thanks.
honest, that's where ordering a takeaway comes in handy.
Ah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, get the Deliveroo app, you're fine.
Good call.
Not
exactly.
sponsored.
I was going to say, I was avoiding mentioning
Anyway,
sponsorship.
moving on.
So,
Yes.
anyway, as we continue to rinse our way through these 7 songs, the 5th song was Lily Among Clouds singing the song Surprise. Now, this was an interesting number, a ballad of sorts, I think it's fair to say. And I think it's only fair that we give a shout out to our ESC Fan TV statistician, Tristan, who has been watching the show live in London this evening, and this was his favourite song. Now, obviously, Tristan's favourite song normally
Always
means we're
comes
going to
last.
have some contrasting views on the panel. So I'm going to go straight to Nicholas. Was this a surprise or for you?
You know what? This was actually my second favorite. I quite liked this. Maybe it wasn't the best performance, and I can kind of see why this maybe didn't translate super well across all the different votings, because it was a little, we saw a lot of these songs where we had like up-tempo songs with a great staging, and then we had a little bit more soft songs that didn't really have too much staging. That being said, I think she's a great performer, and she sold the song very well for me. I didn't really listen to any of these songs before the show either, because I wanted to go in fresh. And, you know, having heard some of her other songs, this wasn't maybe the kind of song that I would have wanted from her. A lot of the songs in the postcard, I was like, this is really cool. So I would have liked something else. But that being said, I think she delivered it very well. And, you know, I wouldn't have been mad if this had been the winner.
This is true. Now, some contrasts have been drawn between this and Kate Miller-Heidke's song, Zero Gravity.
Huh? Really?
There was a couple of contrasts made in terms of style.
Who by?
Well, me for a start off, and since I'm hosting, there are contrasts drawn, because I thought this was Zero Gravity, but basically minus the song. It was almost like it was trying to do it.
Like Michael
It's zero
Gravity.
gravity, but deeper.
Exactly. Mitchell, can you see my point here?
I didn't. I actually compared it more to On a Sunday from Romania. I heard a lot of artsy elements, and I like there was this nice storm. Maybe you're thinking that middle part with the storm, very similar to how Kate Miller-Heidke progresses, but but no, I actually, this is my third favorite, and I thought that it would do well, especially in the jury. What did it end up coming? I'm not sure, but the third. So I did quite like it. She actually, what I liked the most in a weird way is that her voice was really damaged, but it actually gave me like a Judy Garland kind of vibe. You know how she pulled it off, and it reminded me of the French entry from Destination Eurovision. But yeah, no, I quite liked it. You have to have an acquired taste for this song, but I think it was really nice, and I was actually expecting it to win. Unlike the one that won, but yeah, so yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Mitchell said that you need to have an acquired taste to like this song. Was this a taste you acquired?
Well, at this point, I was regretting the fact that I've not been drinking.
You've not been drinking?
No, I'm on bloody tea. It's been the worst night ever. I thought that this was like a joke song, you know, where they took a line or something from every Eurovision song that had ever won and then stuck them all together and went, "This is a winner." I mean, you had the and all that, and she's floating around and going, "Oh, look at me, I'm dead arty." Oh, absolutely, it's just self-indulgent. She's like, "Oh, I'm so arty and cool. Look at me." It was bloody rubbish.
It was like that
Andy,
Japanese thing.
Is this an opinion you share, Andy?
Oh yeah. I always agree with anything that Michelle says. But I would say that it's also it's the same sort of shite that they actually sent a few years ago when it was that arty farty Japanese girl.
Yeah.
Thought she was.
Yes.
Look, I mean, it was all fur coat and no knickers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
With no song behind it.
Style over substance.
Do you know what? I'm just going to pull Stuart into this as well. Was this style over substance?
No, I thought this was one of the best songs of the night.
You're wrong.
And no, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. It was alternative indie rock, indie folk even. It's a combination of Florence and the Machine meets London Grammar. And it's absolutely fantastic. It's done better. Tristan's right with his point.
Tell him.
You didn't just make a comparison with London Grammar, did you? No.
Yeah,
Her voice is stunning.
Kate Bush earlier on.
Florence and the Machine meets London Grammar.
She's going to be on the chat room. The London Grammar lead singer now.
And yeah, if you guys let me finish, it was a fantastic song, well performed, and I think it certainly was a favourite. And Tristan's just joined the chat room. He's made the comment, and actually it was the favourite tonight amongst the German bar in central London, Beer Schenker. Other German beer bars available, and that's the guests and patrons at the bar were cheering this along, and I think it should have done really, really well. I mean, I like the song that's won, but I think this would have been my pick. She had real charisma on stage, and you need that in Eurovision. I remember the song, I remember her. Good would have been a good choice.
Now, do you know what? And I'm, this is what makes it a great partnership, Stuart, is that I totally disagree with you, because I can't remember too much about the singer. I can't remember too much about the song. And it's one of the great things about Eurovision. But I am going to agree with Andy at this point in time. I think you're wrong. Because it came bottom of my list, I'll be honest. It didn't really appeal to me. What did appeal to me, however, was Song 6. Song 6 was Linus Bloom, 20-year-old singer singing Our City. Boy band potential. We had the lyrics flashing up on the screen behind and all these positive words and things going on. It was bright. It was soulful. It had a certain vibe to it. Ness, was this a favourite for you?
Was that the chap that looked 21 but was 31?
No, he was only 20 years old. He's the one that Michelle claimed to be 31.
He was building his city on rock and roll.
Do you know what? No, this young chap had lots of energy, didn't he? And the song had a wonderful message across to us all about, just being all together and being hopeful in our cities. No, I didn't really like it. Sorry.
What if you were in the country?
That's probably because I'm in the country that I didn't really relate to it. And
there we go.
Martin, divisive song.
Martin, just bringing you in on this. Do you think this was a potential winner? I mean, it did get the first 2 or 3 12 points off the professional jury this evening.
He would have appealed to quite a lot of people. I suppose he's a good-looking guy. It's very boy band style, and I don't know, it seemed too worthy a song lyrically for that style of song. It got a bit repetitive at the end. It was okay. He did well. He sung it well, performed it well. So I'm not surprised that he ended up mid-table in the end. So yeah, it's I can see why he's ended up there, but I don't think it was going to ever win really.
Oh, do you know what, Martin? You're breaking my heart with these words here. You know, I saw him as
Breaking
potentially
my heart.
winning.
Do you know, Tom? I know why you like this.
Why would that be, Stuart?
I know why you like this because you liked Freaks and Jordan Clark. I see similarities forming here. There's a trend. Jordan Clark meets Linus Brune equals Tom's favourite.
Oh yeah, that's where we're at. That is where we're at. And I'm sure there might be more on the panel that actually agree with me. I mean,
sorry. Are we listening with our eyes?
Well, some people would describe listening as a totally sensory experience that you listen with your eyes, your ears,
and other organs.
And yeah, that's it. So, you know.
Okay, winner.
Exactly. I just wrap this song up. Nicholas, was Our City a song that did it for you?
This was honestly one of my guilty pleasures, I'm not gonna lie, and I think it deserved the votes that it got, and here's why. I think he really connected with the audience. A lot of these songs really had a lot of focus on grand staging and really being out there and really showing off the singer's capabilities. This dude just went up there, had a party, sung a great song, really connected with the audience, really connected with the juries, and that's why it did so well. And I think he deserved it.
And do you know what? I think you've summed that up brilliantly. Okay, and it was, yeah, it was. There was no showboating, was it? It was just he got up there, he did the job that he needed to.
Yes,
and that's what made it really good. Now, song 7 was Sisters, sung by Sister. Now we've alluded to this song many times this evening, and that's because it won. Now, I think we're going to kick this discussion straight off by going to Andy. Andy, Two Sisters, nice bit of staging, bit of lighting, moving around on this kind of square black board that's moving round. Surely a deserved winner.
Yeah, it won last year. It's like a girls' version of the boys' song that won last year. It's a slightly better version of last year's winning song. So a bit like the UK has sent a very similar song 2 years running. This is really very similar. But the staging is good. And the girls are wonderful. Really like them. They were so delighted to win and genuinely shocked about it. And their personalities came through. So I got no problem with them winning and going. And top 10, definitely.
Yeah. Michelle, where would you potentially position this at Eurovision?
Well, I don't think it'll do too well. I thought the harmonies weren't as good as they could be. And I think with the level of competition that they're going to come across, I think they will struggle, especially with the people that have only heard it for the first time at Eurovision. I think they'll struggle. I thought the staging was a bit odd, and the sort of camera lost them a couple of times, you know, with the turning and things. But they did genuinely seem like really nice girls, and they were absolutely thrilled to win. And it's nice to see people not expecting to winning, but I think it'll get lost.
Yeah. Mitchell, gonna bring you into this conversation. Is this a song that you think is going to need to alter its staging when it goes to Eurovision in order to have a better impact?
I don't know. I think they're keen on the turning platform, which I feel like is a bigger step from Isaiah's Don't Come Easy. No, I actually thought that when it came to the harmonies in the second verse anyway, I thought they were in sync together. It was like they were one unit. I was really impressed. I thought they had great vocal chemistry. This wasn't at the top, but I didn't dislike it. I just liked it enough. And I thought they made the song more than the song made the song. And I really hope that Germany has gotten over its haunted 0 points. Or last place, and I hope that doesn't happen this year. But I don't know, maybe not. I'm not sure.
Fingers crossed. I mean, don't forget they did incredibly well last year with the juries.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was
the same song.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was certainly in my mind, it was quite unexpected that he did as well with the juries as I thought he was going to. So, you know what I mean? I think there are, and maybe this is something I'm going to bring Stuart in on this. Are we getting to the stage now where the big five countries like Germany, like the UK, are thinking of songs that maybe won't hit that public televote, but are going to hit the jury vote instead?
Well, it's interesting you say that, and it's interesting, just picking up on Andy's point. I agree with Andy that it does have similarities to the UK song, which, surprise, surprise, is because it's the same songwriter. Laurel Barker has written Bigger Than Us and has also written this song. So there is definite similarities in the songwriting side. So your question about the big five, are the big five going to make a step up this year? I think the UK song is better than this, is bigger than this. Bigger than this, bigger than us, bigger than this. I think the UK song is better than Sisters, but I like the song. I like them, and I think they're very charismatic. Two very good singers, great chemistry on stage. This actually could do better than many will predict it to do when it gets to Tel Aviv.
But going back to the original question, Stuart, do you think this is something the big five are actually doing, which is actually almost forgetting that the public televote exists and actually going for that jury vote over the public televote when it comes to actually the songs they're giving the public to select as well?
Well, thank you for reminding me of the question, Tom, because I had completely forgot it, and I thank you for picking that one up for me. I think I think the UK and Germany are looking at songs that the juries will go for. Certainly, I think the UK have done that, and I think I think Germany may have done that too, and I think that shows through the same songwriter.
But didn't this win the televote?
It won the jury vote.
It won both.
And the televote.
It won the televote and the jury vote.
Yeah, in which case you can't really complain. It won both.
Yeah.
Now, with the fans.
Now, Stuart, you are plugged into the chat room this evening. What's going on in the chat room?
Well, it's still a hive of activity, Tom. There's lots of stuff going on. Mel's in the chat room. Tristan is in the chat room. David Ray's in the chat room. And Edson Portasio is in the chat room. I think we've got quite a large Portuguese contingent in there tonight, Tom. And I think it's possibly because they're getting ready for the Portuguese national final, which is coming up relatively soon, a couple of weeks' time, isn't it? Of course, tomorrow night is Adele, isn't it? Adele final. And not forgetting the Danish Melody Grand Prix.
This is true, and we'll be hearing about your plans for that later on. Now, just want to kind of head towards the closing stages of our discussion. I want to come to Martin. Romania copped some flack this week over its voting on Sunday. They had 6 juries. They had a televote. And there has been criticism because the televote basically only accounted for 1/7. Tonight, we saw Germany almost take that advice on board because we went through this whole rigmarole of a jury vote that essentially was then just synthesized down into the 12, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 voting, as it were. Do you think this is something the Romanian broadcaster perhaps needs to take on board, having looked at the German selection this evening?
Possibly, but it all comes down to what they want to do and how much they really care about what the public think, really. I think part of it with Romania is the fact that they historically have very little televote or people actually ringing up and voting. So I think that's part of the reason. It didn't help that they chose 2 people from the same fan site. I've got no problem with how they decided it, but it seems a bit strange to pick 2 people from exactly the same fan site and the same country. So that might be something I would have done differently. But with other countries done this. Malta used to go for years. They had about 6 or 7 jurors, and the televote would be about 1/8 of it. So and you've got people like Belarus where basically goes, well, if it's tied, the jury gets it. It's all different. As long as everyone knows what it is before you go, it's only us fans or some fans that go a bit apeshit about it all going horribly wrong when their one doesn't win. So
Was it William on tonight as well?
He was one of the but he's diluted in this case because I think there's 100 fans, ESC fans from around Eurovision. So he was only one of 100 rather than one of 7 that had the big vote.
Yeah, but tarting himself around Europe.
Yeah. Well, you could say it.
I don't have any issues with
No,
with them going around Europe. I think the difference is tonight was about the fans, and it was very, very strangely pulled together in Romania. I suspect they may regret that and do that differently next year. It's not the characters, it's the way it was pulled together, I think, was the problem.
Yeah.
Also,
I want to pull Nicholas in on this conversation, sorry, because we've got obviously Melody Grand Prix tomorrow night. How does the voting work for Melody, or how will the voting work for Melody Grand Prix tomorrow night, Nicholas?
I suspect that it's the same that we've had for the previous years, and I think it's a great system in that a professional jury helps pick out the 3 super finalists, but then it is all televoting for the super finalist round, and I think it's great because the juries can eliminate some of the songs that they know definitely will not do well, and then the public will have the final saying, so everyone feels like they're back in their entry. Lighthouse 10 maybe didn't do so well at Eurovision back in 2016, but the whole country was backing them up because it was the favorite song among the Danish public. And I think that's the most important thing. And we forget that sometimes because we look at it, from the broad fan perspective. But at the end of the day, the countries should send the songs that they feel like represent them. A country should send a song that the public can get behind, because if the public can't get behind it, it doesn't really matter if it does well at Eurovision or not.
This is very true. Now, would you be in favour of if Denmark adopted a system like we saw in Germany tonight, where you have, say they went for a 50-50 on that, going down to that super final, where you've got 100 ESC fans and then also your professional jury there helping make up the mind? Do you reckon that was a good move this evening?
I think it worked for Germany because they've done a lot of different things over the years. They're always experimenting with national final formats. However, a country like Denmark have had Dansk Melodi Grand Prix forever. And, toying around with the format can be really difficult. We saw it in 2015 where we tried to do the Melodi Festival and kind of voting where anti-social media ended up winning over the fan favorite because of the way that the jury had more of a saying, and that really didn't go down well with the public. And I think DR is very well aware of that, and that's why they wouldn't do a thing like this.
Okay, it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night. Just going to pull Ness in onto this discussion just to try and wrap up. Ness, voting this evening, were you in favour of that with the thirds way that they did it? Third professional, third
yes,
ESC?
I like this. I think it should be adopted by all countries. I thought it was extremely fair and a really good way. And it, I don't know, it just felt a bit more transparent in some ways. And it's always nice to see Jon Olasan. So, yeah, I liked the way it was done, and very cleanly as well. So there wasn't too much build-up. There was enough build-up, but quite frankly, 2.5 hours later, I think we all wanted to just know the result.
I just want to say with the jurors as well, I'm not a big fan of actual producers of the show being jurors. And that seems to happen in a few countries now. And I feel like it's a bit of a conflict of interest. I'd rather that stop happening a little bit, but that's just my opinion.
Do you know what? I'm gonna pick up your point, Mitchell, and just fire a question at you. Do you think this stems from the fact that Jon Olasan has such a high profile as producer of the Eurovision Song Contest, or as like overseer of the song contest as a whole?
Possibly. I know he has a lot of say in the placement of the songs on the night. I know they go to him and he approves it and everything, but I don't know. Yeah, possibly. I just think it's a conflict of interest. I think they're better just to do their job and have like a non-bias, no biasness or anything.
Interesting point of view. Now, as we look to wrap up things this evening, what I'd like to do is ask the panel where they think Germany are actually going to end up. You can pick winner. You can pick last place. You can even be really kind and say first half of the scoreboard, second half of the scoreboard. I'm going to come to Stuart last. I'm hoping if you're in the chat room, you're going to be actually joining in with this as well. But we'll start off with Andy. Where do you see Sisters coming on May 18th?
Well, I thought that Portugal was going to do very well last year. Two girls came dead last. So if they came dead last, I wouldn't be totally surprised, but I would say 9.
Martin?
You know, I haven't got a clue. Based on tonight, it could be anywhere. I wouldn't be putting it top 5, but it could literally be top 10 because of their personability, and they do sing it really well, but it could just as well be down the bottom because it doesn't connect.
Michelle?
19th.
Mitchell?
I have a sneaky feeling it'll be at the end again, but I hope it does well. They deserve it.
Nicholas?
My best guess so far is somewhere in the middle.
Ness?
16th.
And moving over to Stuart and the chat room.
So in the chat room, we've got a bit of a mixed bag. We've got mid-table, depending on the running order, and 20th. And I would probably say I'd probably lean towards mid-table. I think at this point, it's really difficult, isn't it? We've got so many songs to come, and there's so many variables at play. If they start in the first half of the final versus the second half, it can make all the difference. Mid-tables are sitting on the fence answer for now.
This is very true. And do you know what, Stuart? I'm going to join you on that fence with mid-table mediocrity. Now, I may not be here tomorrow night, but I know a man that is. Stuart, tomorrow night, 9:30 or 10:30 Central European time, what can we expect?
Well, Tom, thank you for asking. Tomorrow night, it's all about Melodifestivalen semi-final 4, or in Nicholas's case, choosing the song that's going to win the Eurovision for Denmark. We are going to discuss this live reaction straight after both shows tomorrow evening, and it's going to be great. It will be fire.
Hey, fantastic. And all that leaves me to do is thank my panel this evening. Thanks very much to Andy.
Guten Tag.
Martin.
Good night, everyone. Thank you very much.
Michelle.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Mitchell.
Bonsoir, Europe.
Nicholas.
Thank you and guten Abend.
Ness.
Adieu. Thank you.
And as always, my co-host Stuart.
Dankeschön, meine Freunde. Auf Wiedersehen.
He'll be back tomorrow night. I'll be back next Saturday. And until then, don't forget iTunes, Stitcher. That's Stitcher, not Snitcher. That is Spotify.
What do you mean iTunes?
You
Explain.
can catch up. It's podcasts, Andy. Podcasts.
Can you download it?
You can
Yeah,
download
I listen to
this
it on
as a
the train to
podcast.
work all the time.
Hey, Andy, your music's on there. I can't believe
Is it?
you're not listening to your own music.
I've never watched it or heard it.
Oh, there
Well,
we
get
go.
on that train with Mitchell.
I'm sorry, but I'm not a native. What's it called? Thingy. I'm too old.
Yeah, there's many things I could answer to that. We better leave that
Anyway,
for another time.
Anyway, don't forget, you can catch us on Catch Up on YouTube. You can listen to our other shows on Stitcher. You can listen to our other shows on iTunes, Spotify, and TuneIn. But for me tonight and from the panel, it's bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.